Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko. Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa
Destiny, tears, and diamonds, Alex the Internet was rocked by the Eala bombshell. I've been covering tennis for years, so pay attention. I've seen astounding comebacks, distress, as well as spectacular moments that made headlines worldwide. However, what transpired inside the Manuka Auckland, New Zealand's Dr. Arena? This was not your typical tennis tale. This was a whole other matter. At this point, a 20-year-old the Filipina phenomenon went beyond just a rising star. At this point, she became a worldwide symbol. Imagine this, a press conference behind closed doors. The chairman of the most esteemed luxury brand perched on stage. Flashing cameras. A space filled with insiders in the media anticipate a usual corporate statement. Afterwards, without caution, this industry giant totally collapses. I'm speaking intense tears. Tears pouring down his visage. And he's giving Alex Eala a hug like she is his own daughter, and he holds her such you'd think he would never want to let go. Everyone in the room was startled into quiet. Reporters who have covered anything, including royal marriages and wars, stood with their mouths open, openly attempting to comprehend what they were observing. However, why? What might generate such a strong emotional outburst from a guy who stands in for 6 generations of the finest jewelry in New Zealand dynasty? A gift is part of the solution. Valued at hundreds of thousands of dollars, a covert collaboration that is set to propel Alex into the heavens of international sports marketing, as well as a human meaningful relationship that served as a reminder everyone observing that behind all the commercial agreements and brand alliances, there are actual individuals with actual feelings, forming genuine connections. Greetings from Champions Tennis. And fasten your seatbelts, because this Alex Eala's update is not like anything you've before heard. This isn't only about tennis these days. This has to do with legacy, diamonds, family, and a young lady who is winning people over more quickly than she is smashing forehands. The ASB Classic included recently finished what many are referring to as the most thrilling week of the competition recent past. The flags of the Philippines were everywhere. In Auckland, the energy was really electric. Alex Eala had recently ended a run to the semi-finals that had the whole tennis community sitting up and paying attention. However, although fans were still buzzing as they filed out of the stadium from the amazing games they'd observed, something remarkable was taking place in private. A chosen the group was being led into a private the arena's chamber. The invitation had been purposefully ambiguous, making just Partridge's special announcement jewelers the official sponsor of the competition. Now, if you're unfamiliar, let me enlighten you with Partridge Jewelers. Use swiftly. This isn't a random jewelry store. We are discussing 160 years of past events. 6 generations of handcrafted by the family. The kind of business that specializes in diamonds and Rolex Patek Philippe are quite uncommon. Something the majority of people will never even see them in person, much less own them. When a press conference is called by Partridge, you appear. Grant Partridge entered that point bearing the burden of those he has 160 years on his shoulders. He is the chairman of the 5th generation, the guy accountable for sustaining and expanding a legacy that existed before his great-great-grandfather. Typically constructed, always professional, there was anything distinct in his manner, something that's boiling emotionally just underneath the surface. Next to him stood Alex, just out of her semi-final run, seeming modest and kind as never, ever realizing that her life was about to undergo a permanent transformation. The space became quiet. You are aware of the time when does the air itself appear to be holding its breath? It felt like that. Next, Grant leaning towards the microphone, Partridge released the shocking revelation that would dominate the news for days to come. He was avoided wasting time on corporate greetings or technical terms. He was stared straight at Alex before turning to the gathered media and created an announcement that caused everyone to unable to speak. The company Partridge Jewelers was giving their most recent high to Alexandra Eala jewelry assortment. The amount, hundreds, many thousands of dollars from New Zealand. Let's all repeat it slowly so it really sinks in. Thousands upon thousands of dollars. We're not discussing a pleasant watch this, people. We're not conversing about a bracelet you may purchase for a unique event. This is custom-made. Assortment of expensive jewelry. The kind of items that adorn the wrists and necks of nobility. The kind of diamonds that stroll the Oscars red carpet. The workmanship that requires mastery it takes jewelers months to finish. Additionally, they were offering a 20-year-old everything. Tennis player who hasn't even taken home her first WTA championship to date. The gasp in that the room was audible. Knowledgeable journalists that have reported about everything were looking at each other with genuine incredulity. This degree of sponsorship, this kind of gift is essentially unprecedented for a performer on Alex's stage of her professional life. Most athletes must prevail. Big slams, accrue years in the top 10 rankings, and demonstrate their marketability repeatedly prior to premium brands of this caliber is calling. However, Partridge Jewelers noticed a difference in Alexa. It was a recognition of her strong attraction to viewers throughout Asia. He was said that Partridge Jewelers observes in Alex is more than just a tennis player. They see a bridge across cultures. They observe someone who embodies greatness, elegance, modesty, and resolve. They watch how international sports will develop. Advertising. The actual news then arrived. Grant said that they are now in the midst of long-term discussions collaboration. We're discussing creating Partridge's official face is Alex Eala. Jewelers. Consider the implications of it. For a moment. Consider Alex appearing on billboards. From Manila to New York via Auckland. Imagine her on glossy magazine covers. Covered with diamonds that are more valuable than most homes of individuals. Imagine her launching new collections, going to galas, strolling the red carpet at the most famous occasions. This isn't only a sponsorship agreement. This elevation is an entirely distinct stratosphere of famous person. Alex falls into a category as a result. Among the most well-known athletes the past, Maria Sharapova enjoyed her luxury. Brand alliances. Williams, Serena turned herself into a worldwide celebrity. Roger Federer came to represent Rolex. And today, at 20 years old, Alex Eala is being courted to become one of those people. The endorsement of the 160-year-old family company is just astounding. However, this is where this narrative changes from thrilling to business news into something profound, very human. Following Grant, he passed the microphone to the announcer. To Alex. Anyone who follows Alex is aware of she has composure that belies her age. She's intelligent, kind, and carries herself with exceptional maturity. However, additionally, she is quite modest, never wanted to overpromote herself or get entangled in hype. Alex gave the ideal reaction. She didn't start a prepared PR campaign speech created by handlers. She said from the heart, and you could hear the sincere feeling in each syllable. She discussed the amazing warmth she'd encountered by the people of New Zealand. She discussed the Filipino community in Auckland who had given her the impression that she was in Manila for a home game, as opposed to thousands of miles away. She said how honored she was to be trusted by a family that has an amazing legacy. The genuineness of her the voice was audible. The appreciation was genuine, and there was something about the way she uttered, the elegance she displayed, that she showed humility even though she was lavished with a fortune's worth of jewels. The energy in that room changed as a result. Entirely. This ceased to be about funds or advertising. This turned into a human interaction. At that point, Grant Partridge went crazy. This giant of business, this dude is a million-dollar negotiator. Deals, who manages the strain of preserving a history spanning 6 generations, who likely endures dozens of annual corporate events with flawless calmness. He was unable to contain himself. The feeling, tears flooded his eyes. His face twisted. And there you have it. Stage in front of the reporters and cameras from globally, Grant Partridge sobbed. He didn't look away, though. He made no effort to conceal it or calm down himself. Rather, he faced Alex and drew her into a hug that will be for years to come. It will be replayed and examined. This was not a courteous business embrace. This wasn't a handshake for a photo op. This was a father's embrace of his daughter. He embraced her firmly, his sobbing, trembling shoulders, and Alex gave him a sincere hug in return and love. The photographers left utterly insane. The flashbulbs were bursting like fireworks. However, in that I don't think either of them at the moment observed. This was an authentic, unplanned moment of unadulterated human feeling. She's in the top 20. She has years of expertise managing pressure and anticipations. On paper, she ought to have managed Alex comparatively at ease. Modify your own racket's pace. Alex disassembled. Take a drop shot. The fact that Alex has been getting fired similar to a cannon. She moved with clarity. And combative. Her choice was mature for her age. She wasn't merely rivaling Vake. She was acting out. That triumph made a statement. Throughout the world of tennis, Alex wasn't declaring her place. She was claiming that she poses a threat. Even so, in the end, Alex lost in the semifinals. To Wang Senu of China, the caliber of tennis that she produced during the tournament was actually in the top 20. Quality. The coaches observing were impressed. Former athletes doing comments were raving, and the majority, crucially, the crowds were absolutely electric. The Filipino population in New Zealand emerged in force for only one of Alex's games. Each and every her victory was heralded as a championship point. The waving flags, the stadium's reverberating applause. The enthusiasm of Filipino supporters brought about an environment that was unlike anything that the ASB Classic had observed in years. There was Grant Partridge. He observed everything. He personally observed the type of ardent, committed adherence that Alex gives orders. At that point, the light for Partridge Jewelers, the light went out. This was more than just a gifted tennis player. Participant. There was a movement here. This was someone with millions of connections of individuals throughout Asia and beyond. This was a marketing opportunity of a lifetime. Opportunity paired with a truly unique human being. The choice to leave Alan on Alex made everything perfect all of a sudden. Business acumen. More than that, though, it felt appropriate from a personal standpoint. Moreover, this is the icing on the cake. Amazing Sunday. As a result of Auckland's semi-final run, Alex Eala has formally made it into the top 50 in the global rankings. She is currently the world number 149. Take another look at that and give it some thought. The Filipino girl who trained at the academy of Rafael Nadal, who climbed past the juniors who engaged in combat, through the challenger and qualifying rounds events, who persisted in spite of injuries and setbacks. She is currently ranked 49th in the entire world. The truth is, nobody knows. That's what makes sports beautiful. That's why we watch. Anything can happen when that first ball is struck. Alex could flame out in the first round, or she could catch fire and make a magical run that has the whole world talking. The potential is there. The talent is undeniable. The preparation has been thorough. Now it's about execution when the lights are brightest and the stakes are highest. What we do know is that Alex Eala has already won in ways that transcend tennis scores. She's won the heart of a luxury brand chairman who sees her as family. She's won the respect of her peers and legends like Nadal. She's won the admiration of millions of fans who see themselves in her journey. And she's won the right to compete at the highest level of her sport, which is all any athlete can ask for. The journey from that emotional press conference in Auckland to the Australian Open main draw has been swift and stunning. Within the span of just days, Alex has gone from rising prospect to certified star. The world is paying attention now. The spotlight is bright and getting brighter. And through it all, Alex continues to handle herself with a poise and maturity that belies her age. Grant Partridge's tears weren't just about business or marketing. They were about recognizing greatness in its early stages. They were about seeing potential that goes beyond rankings and results. They were about connecting with someone who knows what it's like to carry a legacy in the future. That moment of genuine emotion reminded everyone watching that behind all the corporate sponsorships and brand partnerships, sports is ultimately about human stories, human connections, and human dreams. As Alex prepares for Australia, she carries more than just diamonds and a higher ranking. She carries the belief of everyone who has invested in her journey. From the coaches who saw her potential as a child to Rafa Nadal, who shared his wisdom, to Grant Partridge, who broke down in tears believing in her future, to the millions of Filipino fans who see her as their champion. Alex is surrounded by support and love. The pressure could crush some people. The weight of expectations could paralyze a lesser athlete. However, everything we've seen from Alex suggests she's built for this moment. She has been preparing for this her entire life. The sacrifices, the training, the losses that taught her resilience, the victories that built her confidence, it's all been leading to this point. When Alex steps onto the court at Melbourne Park, she won't just be representing herself or even just the Philippines. She'll be representing everyone who has ever dared to dream big. Despite impossible odds, she will be showing young girls across Asia and around the world that you can come from anywhere and compete with anyone if you're willing to work hard enough and believe strongly enough. The diamonds from Partridge Jewelers are beautiful, but they're not what defines Alexa. What the fire in her heart is what defines her. The accuracy of her forehand, the intelligence in the way she chose her shots, and the elegance with which she triumphs and defeat. The jewelry is merely a representation, a tangible depiction of the value that people perceive in her. The journey itself is a treasure, and the person she's evolving into. Thus, we are currently at the start of what might be Alex's breakthrough season. Everything is in its proper place. Everything is ready. The system is extremely reliable. The fun is about to begin. Portion. The rivalry, the conflicts, the moments that will shape her professional life. Will she take advantage of this chance? Will the Australian Open be the venue where Alex Eala genuinely introduces herself to the world of tennis? Time will tell, but there is one thing that is certain. That the entire world is observing. Grant Partridge is observing with tears of pride in his eyes. Rafa Nadal is observing alongside the contentment of a mentor witnessing his students are rising. Additionally, 110 million Filipinos are observing with hopeful hearts. As well as pride. Alex Eala has already provided us with moments that we will always remember. Something tells me she's only getting started. Now it's your turn to comment. What do you consider Grant Partridge's feelings breakdown during that press conference? Was it a truly heartwarming human moment? Connection? Or do you believe it was partially the strain of making such a significant business choice? And this is the main query. Do you believe this amazing sponsorship for jewelry and everything the attention it receives will put more pressure on Alex's performance, or will it give her assurance that the major brands have faith in her future? I'd like to hear what you have to say because the best analysis is produced by the community and forecasts. Leave a comment below. And let's start a discussion. Should you're just as eager to see Alexa as I am? Participate in the Australian Open and observe those Partridge diamonds on her. Now hit the like button. Now let's get 5,000 likes on this video to display our assistance to Alex. Additionally, if you haven't already have a Champions Tennis subscription, for what reason are you waiting? Hit that click the subscribe button and ring the alert bell to ensure you never miss just one update regarding Alex Eala and all the greatest tennis stories. We have exclusive commentary, breaking news, and insider viewpoints that are unavailable anywhere else. Champions Tennis is being played here, delivering the important stories to you in tennis. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you at the next one, where we'll be monitoring every second of Alex's campaign for the Australian Open. Unexpected. Thrilled Abu Dhabi.